Anthony. Hello and welcome back to Sage and Stone Homestead. My name is Heather. So we're getting to the point in December where it's crunch time for me to get our Christmas gifts kind of squared away. So what we like to do here on our homestead is give like family gifts. So we don't necessarily buy for each individual person in the family, but the entire family will get a gift that the whole family can benefit from. So part of our gift package this year is going to be some freeze-dried candy, and we have done quite a bit of freeze drying this last 8 or so months that we've had the freeze dryer. We really love it. Mostly we use the freeze dryer to preserve our foods from our farm and some bulk foods that we've purchased, but the candy setting on the freeze dryer is a really fun bonus. So the candy that I'm going to be freeze drying today is called High Chew. They are very delicious. It's kind of like one of our members had said it was a cross between like taffy and Starburst, and they hit the nail on the head. So they're quite chewy, but when they're freeze dried, they puff up like this and they just melt in your mouth, and they're so good. So what I did in order to prepare the High Chews for freeze drying is I actually did cut them into thirds. So this right here, this is 1/3 of a High Chew, each individual ball. So they puff up quite a lot. I did leave some of the High Chews original size and I didn't cut them down. I have never done that before, so that'll be fun to see what those look like. I imagine they're gonna be pretty huge. But yes, when they're cut into thirds, they are good and bite-sized. And so this is the goal. With normal or average foods that aren't candy, the freeze dryer can take like 24 up to about 45-ish hours to complete the cycle. But there is a mode on here that's specifically for candy. It uses a higher temperature versus a lower temperature that you would normally use when freeze drying. So I need to set this into candy mode before we can freeze dry these candies. Thankfully, the directions here walk us through it with pictures, which is very nice. Up here, I'm going to click customize. I'm going to increase the drying temperature to 145. That puts it in the high temperature / candy mode. And our dry time is going to be for 3 hours. So that looks right. See up here it says high temperature mode. All I need to do is click start. With the regular freeze drying setting and the candy mode, it goes through a cooling process for 15 minutes first. So I'll need to come back to this in about 15 minutes to click start so that it will start the heat up process. And why candy needs heating up before it's freeze dried, especially like the gummy, like taffy type candies, they're quite elastic, and really the goal for this puffy fluffy texture is to expand the candy, and that's easier to achieve when it has warmed up a little bit. So we're going to heat it up first, and then it's going to turn on the vacuum, and we'll be able to essentially watch it happen. All right, our time has passed. We need to turn on the candy mode. Start. There it goes. So this is it. This is the finished product. And these trays are actually pretty hot. I don't know if you could tell on the screen, but these were at 150 degrees when they came out, and they look wonderful. Now you can see that they are decently like stuck to the pan. A lot of people will put down like parchment paper. I do have some silicone mats that work really well, but truthfully you can kind of just twist the pan, kind of like an ice tray, and they pop off really easily. So usually I find I can just take a spatula or something similar and just scrape along and they come right off. And then this washes up very easily just by the nature of what freeze-dried food is. When you add water to these trays right here, the food that does remain a little bit stuck on there just rehydrates and slides right off. These are very easy to clean. Got a little bubble on it. So let's get a little bit of a close-up look. So we have the high chew cut into thirds right here. This is 1/3, and then this is the entire high chew. So you can see how it's not as poppable as far as snacking goes as this size is. And it's not the most pleasant thing to bite down on either. They are slightly hard. They're a lot better to just pop in your mouth and allow them to dissolve. You can see how fluffy they got on the inside. Fluffy and crunchy at the same time. It's kind of bizarre. They're absolutely more cumbersome to eat if you don't cut them, so cutting them into thirds is a little bit tedious, but well worth doing. I bought these Mylar bags with a window in them to package these up for Christmas gifts. And I have this really nice heat sealer that came with my freeze dryer, and that's gonna help me seal these right up. Zip that closed. So it's not completely necessary to package up your candy in Mylar bags. This is just a fun way for us to gift them to our family, or if you wanted to sell it, if we wanted to sell it, this would be a good way to sell it. But the way that we've stored it in the past is we just put them in jars like this and then vacuum sealed a lid on, and this is going to help keep out moisture, keep out any humidity from the air, and help these last quite a long time.